Good evening, everyone. Um, this is going to be a trading review and support session for March the 16th, 2022. So it's Wednesday evening and we're on a support session. Today was an FOMC day. So I usually don't trade a lot on FOMC day. I kind of did today because I needed to pay for some commissions that we'll get into in just a few minutes. And so let's just go ahead and go through it. Let's kind of set the tone for the day, other than it being an FOMC day, and we'll take a look at the daily. So this turns out to be today, but when we walked in, right, it was around the 20-day moving average, and it was moving back and forth. So yesterday finished up, today finished up quite a bit as well, based on FOMC, getting done. Um, but I did not trade anymore uh, after we broke up. So here's just a continuation, right? And then it did roll back over on its way to the FOMC announcement. The FOMC announcement was here. It was no surprise, but it did fall off. And as usual, I mean, it was pretty volatile for some period of time, and then came back and finished up. I wasn't even watching it in all those cases, and I was kind of working on the other computer at times as well. So when we opened this morning at 6:30, right about in here, right, it had rolled over a little bit, but you see, even at that point, it was an up market at that particular point in time. So that's kind of what we're looking at as we are looking at the opening here. So here's the open, kind of let it, do its gyrations. It had been pulling back a little bit to the 2 by 200 from the 2 by 200. So here was the first trade, and it went off fine. Here was the second trade, and it had to come back up, but it went off fine. And let me move the chart over. And kept going. So here's one, here's two, here's three, and it didn't quite get me out. So I ended up settling for 2 ticks on this one, right? And then even though it eventually went up, got in again, right? And then ultimately got out. So there's the fourth trade in that particular direction, and it was kind of moving. Didn't really want to go short. Okay, so then okay. We're short here, right? So there's a short there. I think I'm pretty sure I only took that one for 4 ticks. I said then okay, I want to take a break. Took a break, came back in, and walked in, and so here's what I've always said that we should not do. That is walk back in and take a trade late, which is exactly what I did. So I took it at the absolute worst possible level, right? Whereas if I was going to trade it again, it would have been better to trade, around somewhere around in here, right? And/or when it's coming back underneath the minute average. But no, I went ahead and did it anyway. So this is another lesson learned to not do that, right? So it didn't go in my direction, and then I got juked out. I mean, we did have some 7 o'clock news coming, so I actually reversed, not at the worst possible time, but still bad, right? It came back down, and I added to it, so now I have two, and then I reversed again, going short here, right before the news. So I'm getting bullied around a little bit. So but finally you just have to kind of like take a stand a little bit. So then I added to it. I must have added. Oh yeah, I did reverse and then I added so that I'm carrying two here, right? Carrying three now, right? And then I reversed because I'm carrying three and now I can't play with it forever. So now I'm back short. added to it again, and so there's 4, right? But it is coming from this area, so I let it go against me. He wasn't enjoying life too much. Came back up and tested, and it's under the 2-minute close, and it's at that pivot, right? So added to it here, added to it here, right? Now it's after 7. And the news wasn't exceptionally good, but now I've got 6, and if it went badly, against me, and or I didn't completely get out, then I'm really kind of whipsawing around. So I was watching it, and so I decided to take a conservative exit position. Right, I should have, and we talked about it. I could have and should have maybe spread it out a little bit. So I wanted to get out of 1 before the 2x20, and I did that. And I got out of 1 a little bit after the 2x20. So I had 6, and I've got 1 out there, 1 out there. And then I pretty much had them, stacked up after that, the remaining 4, right? What I could have done is at least spread them out a little bit more, because as a result of this, I was still positive when I got out of here, but I had pretty much given up my profit. I think I was up like 5 3/4 when it started, and I ended up like 1.5 with a bunch of commissions. So I didn't manage that one extremely well. Another lesson learned about not walking in, and there was the problem that started it all, right? Just walking in, and after it had been under Ultraflex for quite some time, and it's kind of walking in and not really having watched it too much. So lesson learned again. Went short here. So I'm flat and out, went short here, and that trade worked. So I got a little bit of money back. And let me move everything over. All right, so we come down here. Midline is holding pretty well. I'm watching it, and this is another one I think I just took for 1 point, but took that one, took it here, right? And I think I only took this one for a couple of ticks as well. Let me move over to my trading chart and see, because I labeled some of them that maybe I took it for 1 point. So there's 14, and yep, that one was for 1 point. So I'm getting a little bit more conservative. Here's another trade that took, right? So this was that area, right, that was breaking out of that pivot, right? So they're going to do one of two things, right? They're going to either kind of mosey their way up to it and then maybe fall back down, or if the buyers really wanted to go through it, then they're going to do it with a lot of volume, which is what they did. So I took that trade, and that one worked out fine. So I'm getting back into a profitable position, a better profitable position. Let's see. Here's one that I ended up. I took a short trade here, right? And it's 725, and it's kind of messing around with some period of time, and it's getting close to 730. That 720, 730 kind of time frame when it looks like it might not, go very far. And so I ended up just taking 3 ticks on this one. Could have gotten the whole thing, right? But I was just trying to be conservative and add to profit some. All right, so now we're getting back into 737 time frame, and probably would have been done close to trading if I hadn't have given the profit up. So I took that one. Trade over here on the right side edge, took that one worked out. So it's really just that one trade that I just kind of walked in on. I'm trying to be a little conservative here and not trade too much. Market is doing okay, and I took a later trade. I think I take one more trade. I think that was it. Yeah, here. Right, took that trade. Had to watch it for a little bit because it did come back up. You know, there's a breakout underneath the zones. Right, so I had to watch it, but do that. So ended up gross with 11.5 points. You know, probably in the order of 8 or 9 points net, which is okay. It's just not great. And it being FOMC day, kind of wanted to stop trading, which is what I did. Didn't trade anymore. And that scenario. Now, why is I have to watch that. All right, so that's kind of the deal on the trading. Any questions on that or anything else? Yes, I can show you my Renko chart. I have it minimized on another monitor, but let me drag it over, and I'll expand it a little bit too. All right, so that's what my Renko chart. I have this minimized. I don't even watch it. Did you need to go through any settings on that or anything? The box, as in the actual Renko boxes themselves, like this box here. Okay, then your instrument, the instrument setting is not correct because that's automatic, right? That's not even having anything to do with the software. That's just having the instrument formatted. Let's go there, and here's the settings. So you got to select. First of all, you have to select Renko as the chart type, and then the resolution and the box size are both 3 points. All right, so you got to set both of these to 3 and both of these to points. And then you can match my check marks as well. All right, so I'll leave that up there to you. Are able to do that, and then you'll get it. So yeah, then you weren't getting in that case you weren't getting the correct transfers to your 5-second chart either. Um, let's see. Can you take a picture of it and send it to me? Either take a picture through and include the screen as well. Include the format instrument setting screen. So this is a, okay, so let's do that. If you want to do that now, then let's do it now. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Um, so this is just a chart setup issue, unless you had any other questions or something, and then we'll work on your Renko chart. Okay. All right, so I'm going to end the recording and just go ahead and send it to me on my phone, and then we'll get it fixed. All right, so that's going to be it for the recording, and we'll see you in the room tomorrow morning.